Spaced repetition systems are an evidence-based learning technique that is usually performed with flashcards. Newly introduced and more difficult flashcards are shown more frequently, while older and less difficult flashcards are shown less frequently in order to exploit the psychological spacing effect. The idea behind this is that the brain can more effectively remember information when learned over time rather than all at once. Memory naturally decays over time, so spaced learning serves to refresh your memory at key intervals along the forgetting curve to better allow those neural pathways to form. What you end up strengthening is your ability to not only remember, but quickly retrieve the desired information. This means that spaced repetition not only is a more effective way to learn and practice, but it's also more efficient. You don't need to spend as much total time learning something if you learn and refresh it in the right intervals. If you look into it, you see SRS mostly described as a study tool for students, and yeah, I bet it's very effective for that. What you don't see, or at least what I had a hard time finding, was information on how to apply SRS to more than just memorizing information. Could it be used to help efficiently learn and develop skills? Using resources I pulled from a bunch of different places, I pieced together a SRS program that I've been using for a couple months, and by now I think I can comfortably say it's made a big difference in my rate of improvement. I want to share it with whoever else wants to use it for whatever you're trying to learn. The template I'm providing, link in the description below, is set up for Smash, but you can and should modify it to suit your own needs. I'm working on adapting it for my drawing practice as well, but it's not a one-to-one translation, so depending on what you want to use SRS for, it might take some time to try to figure out how best to apply it. First, let me explain how it works. Hope you like spreadsheets. I also want to give credit where it's due, not only to the main source I learned about spaced repetition from, it's a book called How We Learn, but also the resources for the tool itself. I'll put links to those in the description as well. Speaking of link, the basis for the spreadsheet is from a sheet I found in the Link Smash Ultimate Discord group, created by someone named Jukebox. I liked the approach enough to steal it and modify it for spaced repetition, but they should absolutely get credit for the idea. I'll just explain how this works really quickly. This is the main page, which the instructions are right here, so I don't really even need to explain this, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's a few tabs I've made on the bottom here. You can make more tabs or change these if you need to. But these tabs are broken up into exercises that you can perform. You can see here the exercises on this fundamentals tab are based on the Art of Smash training videos by Izaw. But you can go through each one of these exercises and you can see an example of how they're done by following the video. You can see a description for what you're supposed to do, and you can also see what you're expected to perform to be able to have learned the skill. And you can see over here is where you put in the date for when you've been able to perform that skill. And what that will do is that will put in a, here, let's put in a date. And what it's going to do is it's going to use the spaced repetition dates that I've set up to tell you when you need to practice that skill again. So if we did this on May 31st, we have to do it again on June 1st, June 2nd, June 4th, June 8th, 16th. It basically doubles every repetition until 10 repetitions. If you fail to do the skill on one of these repetition dates, you clear this date and then you put it back in when you can successfully do it, because it means you haven't learned that skill yet, at least not to the degree that you're supposed to, right? So the idea is to eventually work your way down all of these skills on all of these tabs. The combos tab is blank, the miscellaneous tab is blank. You fill those in as you go. I'll show you what my sheet looks like that I'm working on. So this is a blank one that I'm providing, but this is the one that I'm working on. This is the one I'm pretty much using every day. Here's the fundamentals tab with me, and this is the date that I first did each of these skills, and you can see that the next repetition for each of those skills goes on and on and on. When I complete it, I check it off. If that date is today, it shows as green. If I miss one, it actually shows as red, so you can see if you missed a date, it's red. So you can see kind of how I've been filling this out. And it tells me every day, you know, I look at it and I see what do I need to work on today. And if that's enough for a full day's practice, then that's enough for a full day's practice. If I still have time at the end and I want to add a new skill, I add a new skill. And I start working on that. And if I get it, I put the date in and you get it. So these ones that are blank on the default one here, obviously you fill those in. I've been filling mine in. Whenever I see something that I say, I don't know how to do that, or I'd like to learn how to do that, or I need to practice that more, I put it in here. I try to find a resource video for it if I can, and then I make time to do it. There's definitely other resources for this type of thing. I like the spreadsheet because it's more customizable. It's for people, I guess, who want to control their own learning and what they learn. That means, though, that you have to be honest with yourself and disciplined with the sheet. The more you can do that, the more benefit you'll get from it. So just real quick, I want to talk about what SRS can't do, or at least what I haven't figured out. For Smash specifically, it's been useful for purely mechanical or technical skill. It makes you better at controlling your character so that when your brain wants to do something, you can execute it without having to remember the input. I haven't found a way to use it for more mental aspects of the game yet, like reading and reacting to the opponent, identifying bad habits, and things like that. Some skills are also very tough to practice by yourself, but that's less a fault of the system and more just the reality of my own situation. Adapting this spreadsheet for other things is a little bit tricky. I've been having some difficulty finding a good way to adapt it for art because it's not something that I can practice necessarily multiple skills per day or even really one skill per day. Per sitting, it takes a lot more time to draw than it does to practice a game. So that's a work in progress, and depending on what it is you're trying to practice and use the sheet for, you may have to really change it to make it work for you. But I do think that the system is worth attempting. So that's all that I really have. Spaced repetition for me has been the most successful by far method of practicing and learning new things. Your results may vary depending on what you're trying to learn and how you learn, but I recommend giving it a try. I'd recommend looking into it more too. There are people who explain it better than me. But at the very least, I hope that the tool is useful to somebody, or at least that it helps you think more creatively about how you can create your own tools in your own practice and make something that works for you.